so we are going to be replacing a pressure switch and a pressure gauge for water on a well system. Here's the new pressure switch. And the pressure switch that we're going to be replacing is going to be 30 to 50 psi. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut power to this before we start removing wires, and also to allow pressure to be removed from the water system. So let's get started. So if you got one of these voltage sniffers, you can check to see if it's got voltage. Like right now it has voltage to it, so we're going to go ahead and flip the breaker to shut it off. So if you want to check it with a meter, you want to put it to volts AC, and then you just go to red to black on either side, because it should be shutting it off when the pressure hits a certain psi. Alright, let's flip the breaker. Alright, so we got the breaker flipped off and everything looks dead. We'll just double check with the meter. Yep. So we want to open up a line outside to relieve any pressure that's on the system. Alright, so the pressure from the well, it seems to have bled off, and let's go ahead and replace the pressure switch. Alright, so we're going to remove the actual pressure switch now. So we're going to put an adjustable wrench on it there, and then this down here to keep it from twisting the pipe. Yeah. There we go. I guess just go slow in case it's got pressure. So as you can see, the pressure gauge is definitely off. There's no water coming out of here, and it says it's at 90 some psi. So you want to put a wrench on the bottom pipe so that you're not twisting it. So the new pressure switch is going to need a 1/4 inch nipple in order to adapt it to the pipe. And here's the one that we bought. Here's the one that actually came out of the old one. This is a short, stubby one. But if you get one with a little bit of length to it, then you can at least grab onto that with your pliers and not strip any threads or goober up the threads. So we're going to want to put some Teflon tape on the threads in order to seal it. Make sure you wrap it a certain direction so that it doesn't undo itself when you're screwing it in. So this is the direction you're going to want to wrap it so that it won't unwrap itself when you're screwing it into the pipe. Kind of judge. I'm going to probably put 4 wraps of it. 3 or 4. Alright. Now we can thread that in by hand, and then go ahead and cinch it on there nice and tight. Alright, let's go put it on the pipe. But before we do that, let's go ahead and wrap this with the Teflon tape. That looks good. Yeah. Since we're replacing the gauge, we're going to wrap this one as well with some thread seal. I like to wrap it in this direction so that the when you're screwing it in, it doesn't have the chance to unwrap itself. I like to do 3 or 4 wraps with this because it's not very thick tape that I have here. Go put it in. Alright, let's go ahead and put in the new pressure gauge. Go ahead and thread on the pressure switch. So the new pressure switch comes with a schematic here, and that M with the circle around it is the motor. So since these two are the pump wires, they'll go right here on the 2 in the middle, the 2 and 4 position. So we'll go ahead and wire those in, and then put the house wires, the electrical supply wires on next. The screws have a 15 to 20 pound-inch recommended torque value. So also, before you go screwing these in, if you have any corrosion on these copper wires, which will be green, or if there's any rust that's collected on anything, you want to make sure you clean that off with a wire brush or something, and before you put them on. Okay. So there are ground nuts on this, ground bolts, but we do not have a ground at this well, so that's why we didn't screw in the ground wire, which would be on the green bolt back there. But if you got it, definitely put it on. So when Googling the typical water pressure for a house, we're going to set it to 40 to 45 psi. Should not exceed 60. So we are going to go ahead and turn it on. We do not know what the pressure is set at as default on this, but hopefully it's not too high. Turn it on. It didn't even... So since we had the system open, we're going to open up the outside water line to get the air out of the line, so it'll fill the system with water. So now we're going to turn on the water in the house in order to get the air out of the lines in the house.
Alright, we're at 45 now. Hopefully it cuts out soon. You know what? I'm going to shut off the pump here pretty quick.
Right.
If it doesn't kick out.
Yeah, it's not kicking out. Whoa.
Oh, it did.
Oh,
at 50.
Like... So the pressure that it tripped at was 50, and we want it to be shutting off
45.
40 to 45 around there. So we're going to go to 45. So okay, so this little one is what cuts out the high pressure, and this will cut it back in when it gets low. All right, so we're estimating about 3 pounds per turn, and this is what cuts out the pressure when it gets to a certain height. So we're going to unscrew it 2 in order to drop it 6 pounds. There's 1. There's 2. So we're opening it up. We're going to see when it actually kicks on. Okay. So it kicked on at 30. Alright, so if we wanted it to kick in a little sooner at a higher pressure, we would screw it in, right? I can't remember.
Yep, no, screw it in.
So we'd screw this in if we wanted it to kick in at a higher pressure. We'll unscrew it if we wanted to kick in at lower pressure. And now we're waiting for it to trip at the high pressure mark, which is this one, the little one.
Decent.
Just a little above 45. Alright, so just a little above 45. And we're happy with that. We're going to leave it. Alright, covers in place. Alright, covers in place. Thank you for watching.